In the ancient past, a hovering spacecraft departs a planet. A humanoid alien drinks a dark, bubbling liquid, then starts to break down. The alien's remains cascade into a waterfall. His DNA triggers a biogenetic reaction. Presumably, the planet is Earth, and the process describes how life possibly started on the planet. In 2089, archaeologists Elizabeth Shaw and Charlie Holloway discover a star map in hidden caves on the Isle of Skye in Scotland that matches others from several unconnected ancient cultures. The star map is 35,000 years old, or maybe older. Peter Weyland, the elderly CEO of Weyland Corporation, funds the creation of the scientific vessel Prometheus, with a crew of 17, to follow the map to the distant moon LV-223. The moon is 34 light-years away, and it took roughly 2 years and 4 months to get there. The ship's crew travels in stasis while the android David monitors their voyage. David is an android that acts as the ship's butler and maintenance man. It is designed to be indistinguishable from humans and begins to develop its own ego, insecurities, jealousy, and envy. David can establish neural links with the crew in stasis and access their dreams. The crew includes Captain Janik, Fifield, a geologist who has become mentally unstable after many missions, Milburn, a geologist, Ford, the ship's medic, pilots Chance and Ravel. Arriving in 2093, they are informed of their mission to find the engineers. Mission Director Meredith Vickers orders the crew to avoid making contact without her permission. Vickers says that the Weyland Corporation paid $1 trillion to fund the expedition. Vickers has a separate module in the ship with its own life support system, called the lifeboat, and can survive independently of Prometheus. Peter has a pre-recorded message for the crew and says that he died sometime during the crew's voyage due to his old age. Peter recognizes David as the closest thing to a son, which irritates Vickers. Peter says that the mission is to find where humanity comes from and what is its purpose. Peter introduces Shaw and Holloway as the people who convinced him about the mission. Shaw and Holloway demonstrate how various archaeological digs across civilizations, such as Egyptian, Mayan, Sumerian, Babylonian, Hawaiian, Mesopotamian, had the same star map pointed to by giant beings. These civilizations were separated by centuries and had no contact with each other. The star map pointed to a system with a sun and a planet with a habitable moon, LV-233. Shaw interprets this as an invitation from humanity's forerunners, the engineers. Shaw is a believer in God with a very strong faith, says that the engineers made humanity. LV-233 had an atmospheric composition like Earth, but has 3% CO2, which means humans cannot survive without a spacesuit. The Prometheus lands on the barren, mountainous surface near a large artificial structure, which the team explores. Fifield releases drones that map the entire underground structure. Inside the structure, the air is completely breathable. Inside, they find numerous stone cylinders, a monolithic statue of a humanoid head, and the remains of a large alien, thought to be an engineer. Shaw recovers its head. They find other bodies and presume the species is extinct. Crew members Milburn and Fifield grow uncomfortable with the discoveries and attempt to return to Prometheus, but get lost in the structure. David secretly takes a cylinder, while the remaining cylinders begin leaking a dark liquid, which comes in contact with worm-like life forms on the ground. A rapidly approaching storm forces the crew to return to Prometheus, leaving members Milburn and Fifield stranded in the structure. David communicates with someone unseen in a stasis pod on the ship and is told to try harder. In the ship's lab, the engineer's DNA is found to match that of humans. David investigates the cylinder and the dark liquid inside. He then contaminates a drink with the substance and gives it to an unaware Holloway. Shortly after, Shaw and Holloway become intimate. Inside the structure, a snake-like creature attacks Milburn and sprays a corrosive fluid that melts Fifield's helmet, exposing him to the leaking dark liquid. The crew later returns to the structure and finds Milburn's remains. David separately discovers a control room containing a surviving engineer in stasis, and a star map highlighting Earth. Holloway's ingestion of the dark liquid leads to an infection that rapidly impacts his body. He is rushed back to Prometheus, but Vickers refuses to let him aboard and, at his urging, ends his life using a flamethrower. Later, a self-performed medical scan reveals that Shaw, despite being sterile, is pregnant with an alien offspring. Shaw uses Vickers' automated surgery table to extract and subdue the squid-like creature. Shaw then discovers that Wayland, Vickers' father, has been in stasis aboard Prometheus. He explains that he wants to ask the engineers how not to age. As Wayland prepares to leave for the structure, Vickers addresses him as father. A monstrous, mutated Fifield returns to the Prometheus and attacks, harming several crew members before being stopped by the captain of Prometheus, Janek. He speculates to Shaw that the structure was actually an engineer military base that lost control of a dangerous biological agent, the dark liquid. He also determines that the underground structure is in fact a spacecraft. Wayland and a team return to the structure and awaken the engineer. David speaks to the engineer, who responds by decapitating him and neutralizing Wayland and his team. Shaw escapes the spacecraft as the engineer activates it. Shaw desperately flees and warns Janek that the engineer is planning to release the menace on Earth to wipe out all life forms, convincing him to stop the spacecraft. Janek and the remaining crew sacrifice themselves by ramming the Prometheus into the alien craft, ejecting the lifeboat in the process. The engineer's disabled spacecraft crashes onto the planet. Its wreckage causes the loss of Vickers. Shaw goes to the lifeboat and finds that her alien offspring is still alive and has grown to gigantic size. David's still active head warns Shaw over the intercom that the engineer has survived the crash. The engineer forces open the lifeboat's airlock and attacks Shaw, who releases her alien offspring onto the engineer. It thrusts a tentacle down the engineer's throat, subduing him. Shaw recovers David's remains, and with his help, they launch another engineer spacecraft. She intends to reach the engineer's home world in an attempt to understand why they wanted to erase humanity. In the lifeboat, an alien creature bursts out of the engineer's chest. The end. Prometheus is a thought-provoking science fiction film that explores the origins of humanity and the quest for greater understanding beyond our world. It combines stunning visuals with existential themes about creation, faith, and the consequences of seeking forbidden knowledge. The film carefully balances elements of adventure and mystery with philosophical questions about life and our place in the universe. The characters are well developed, especially the android David, who showcases an evolving sense of individuality and ambiguity. The storyline maintains tension without relying on overt violence, focusing instead on psychological suspense and the unknown. Prometheus offers an introspective look into humanity's desire to understand its origins and the risks involved in such a pursuit. It challenges viewers to consider the relationship between creators and their creations and the potential dangers of knowledge that is beyond our control. This film is an excellent choice for audiences interested in sci-fi that blends action with deeper questions about existence, making it a valuable addition to any movie review or discussion. Our dearest friends, what do you think of this movie's review and analysis? Let us know in the comments. Do not forget to like and subscribe to be part of our family. See you in the next video. Until we meet again.